Okay, hello Cloud Gurus, how y'all doing? Scott Pletcher here, and welcome to another special reInvent edition of AWS This Week. So many announcements across the board in week 2, but I had to pick just a few, and I chose some from the machine learning space that I think have some pretty big implications. We're also bringing back ACG training architects Craig Arcuri and Errol to provide their take on the latest security and container announcements. Plus, we'll reveal the guru of the week, so stick around. Last week, Faye mentioned Amazon Lookout for Equipment, which uses machine learning to identify anomalies in industrial data. This week, I also wanted to mention Amazon Lookout for Metrics and Amazon Lookout for Vision. Lookout for Metrics uses anomaly detection algorithms to analyze your data on a schedule you define, triggering notifications or a Lambda function. This is a neat turnkey way to add anomaly detection on existing data sources without having to create your own custom model. Now, similarly, Lookout for Vision uses image analysis to detect visual anomalies. And this is useful for performing high volume visual inspection of products as they speed down a production line. Vision systems have been in use in industrial applications for a long time now, but having a fully managed vision system as a service is certainly going to appeal to some. If your vision needs just can't wait for a round trip to the cloud, enter AWS Panorama appliance, an on-prem device that brings computer vision on site. Along with visual inspection, other use cases include site safety monitoring, retail traffic patterns, or inventory management, where you could automatically send a replenishment signal when a visual minimum inventory level is reached. For all the potential that machine learning holds, there's still some pretty dicey problems we're trying to solve. One of these problems is bias. Training ML models requires lots and lots of data, but whether we realize it or not, many times the training data that we happen to have on hand might not be fully representative of real-world scenarios or how we want decisions to be made in the future. When these incomplete models are used to make real-world decisions, the results can range anywhere from embarrassing to downright immoral. Announced during reInvent, SageMaker Clarify can help root out possible sources of bias in your raw data prior to training and call out potential model drift over time. Model drift happens as the world changes, but your model doesn't, so it's sort of stuck in the past and will get less and less accurate over time. SageMaker Clarify also attempts to help with explainability of machine learning models, and this is another hot topic now, as most people aren't very comfortable blindly accepting a decision from some mysterious black box. If we create decision-making models, we should be able to explain how our model made that decision, but that can be really difficult when dealing with complex data sets. SageMaker Clarify can help with this by bringing some transparency and visualization to how the model used the input data to arrive at the result. Our beloved DeepRacer League is getting some new features in 2021. New Open and Pro divisions will be introduced in March 2021, creating a more competitive landscape and more chances to win prizes. Everyone will start out in the Open division and must earn their way into the Pro division, where you can win fabulous prizes and qualify for the Championship Cup at reInvent 2021. Also announced, we'll soon be able to create our own custom virtual circuits with community leagues. And this is a great way for user groups, schools, and companies to use DeepRacer to promote and develop reinforcement learning skills. I'll tell you another great way to get started on your machine learning journey, ACG's Intro to Machine Learning course by yours truly. It's designed to be accessible and entertaining, and fortunately, others seem to agree too. Enough of my shameless plugs. Let's head on over to ACG training architects Craig Arcuri and Errol for the lowdown on all the latest reInvent updates in the security and container space.
Thank you, Scott, for the introduction. How's it going this week, Craig? How's your second week of reInvent going?
Hey, Errol. Good to be here. I finally found an advantage to reInvent being virtual. If I or some of us were in our second week of reInvent, we might be broke by now and trying to get a part-time job in maybe the Hard Rock Cafe or some other place. So there's a plus. It's always, it's always glass half full.
Yeah, that's the silver lining, is that we got a chance to save a couple dollars this reInvent, since we're all home. So I'm with you there. How's your second week at reInvent been so far? Did you have any security updates you'd like to give us?
Absolutely. I was able to check out the security keynote. And there's a lot of stuff going on in security, but of course, with our limited time, I'll just focus on one announcement. In particular, I have a background in healthcare IT and also banking, and I was really interested in the AWS Audit Manager that was announced new this week at reInvent. So what it's going to do is allow you to go in and set up audits for your organization. And like with many things, the goal is to automate this. So you can have your audits constantly running in the background as you're going throughout your year. So this is a pretty big development in that area. Now, what they do is, and the AWS Audit Manager is already up in the AWS Management Console. I was able to check it out a little bit. Maybe applied an audit to my personal account. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But you go into the Audit Manager. It's really easy to set up, but they provide these pre-configured frameworks. And maybe banking folks or anybody in the financial field, one of the frameworks is PCI DSS. So you can just go into Audit Manager and apply this framework to your organization. So they have 4 or 5 canned frameworks, or you can take one of those frameworks and customize them a bit, or you can make your own frameworks. So it's really easy. It's really quick. You go in and you set it up, and anytime throughout your year, if you're going to come upon an audit, you're going to be able to produce reports right on the spot and hand them to your auditor, and happy auditor might be a happy organization.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key. Maybe you're probably familiar with this too. How at every company you work for, it's like when it's time to audit, it's like we have to gather these records and get this information together. So having something like that already does it for us and is proactive in organizing audit information is really key. That sounds like it's going to be really beneficial.
Absolutely. And additionally, as you might expect, it interacts with a couple other AWS services, such as AWS Config. And a really cool feature is if you have multiple accounts in your organization, well, then you should probably be using AWS organizations already, but you can use it and it interacts with the Audit Manager. Now, one final thing I wanted to mention was that sort of hand in hand with this was AWS announced a curriculum for audits. So they announced a curriculum called the AWS Cloud Audit Academy. So it's actually going to allow folks in audit and compliance and risk to take this curriculum. There's continuing education credits. It's a pretty big deal, actually. It can be sort of cloud agnostic, or it can be really focused on AWS. Additionally, they're providing in-person classes, of course, subject to our current COVID situation improving, as well as free online courses. So again, as far as audit and compliance, these are really big developments in that field. And it was really noteworthy for me from the security announcements.
Nice. That's nice. Sounds like a lot of good information there for sure.
That is correct. And I heard through the grapevine that you have some inside info on containers.
Yeah, I may have just a couple key details that some of our students may benefit from knowing. I'm with you. We can't really discuss them all, but I do have a couple. So I was able to sit in on the Modernizing Containers leadership session this morning, and it was just a really good session from a leadership perspective, really speaking to the students, or in this case, particularly those engineers who will be developing on AWS as it relates to modernizing their applications. And I really liked how the presentation was given, kind of dumping these particular engineers into three buckets. Those who are looking to re-platform their application. So you're looking at those users who are looking to go from traditional data center to a cloud environment, or users who may already be on a cloud provider, but may want to diversify their cloud tooling. Also, those people who want to refactor, that was another bucket that was discussed in the leadership session. Those individuals who may just be interested in changing their services up, taking services that are ran in EC2 or Elastic Beanstalk and possibly containerizing those or architecting them to a more serverless way. And also those the final bucket was those individuals building new applications. We were able to go through those three scenarios where we discussed how we can modernize our application through the use of containers. As it relates to new announcements, really not too many new big announcements in this particular session. A lot of the announcements rode on the back of last week's announcements as it relates to ECS and EKS Anywhere.
Sure.
AWS this year has really been just kind of putting that out there, that this is a big game changer. And even we have individuals who even tried EKS and ECS Anywhere by coding it onto their Raspberry Pi. So that's going to be really awesome. And maybe that can be some content that we could bring to the platform. Other than that, another service that was mentioned isn't so newer because it was released a little earlier this year, was the app to container service. This was reintroduced, if you would, just the ease of use for those individuals who wish to containerize their applications but really don't have the tooling or the expertise. App to container would definitely be a good pathway for you, as that particular service will definitely help get your app to a containerized runtime.
If I could make an analogy, it's sort of like a Elastic Beanstalk for containers, if that.
Yeah,
That's valid.
That's very valid. It's very similar to an Elastic Beanstalk for containers. It really speaks directly to some of the challenges that a lot of engineers have, that they go to the containerized environment to solve their problems, like reducing their cost, deploying more often, as well as maintaining a lot of those security guardrails through the isolation that containers provide. So with that, definitely like Elastic Beanstalk and the other things that AWS mentioned that they're going to use to combat particularly the observability issue, was Amazon FireLens now being supported with EKS. So you'll be able to get a deeper level of observation into what's going on with your containers. Also, AWS is now making it easier to use Prometheus, Grafana, and OpenTelemetry with your container. So what we see here is more serverless, more observability, and more visibility into actually what's going on in the containerized environment.
That's really cool stuff. I'm very interested in the again, that analogy, Elastic Beanstalk for containers, because that can act as a stepping stone. You get into it, mm-hmm. and it's like, hey, this isn't so bad. I'll take it a step further and really get into it. So it's a good avenue into containers if you're not already involved with them.
Yeah, it definitely does, from a technological perspective, lower the barrier of entry for those getting into containers. And when we think about the marketplace right now, having the ability to scale up if you need to, and then unfortunately, and sometimes scale down if you need to as well, that's definitely starting to be one of the demands of the market. So I really see that a lot of these announcements with containerization is really going to drive some of our students to maybe complete some more of our courses on containers.
That's right. And hopefully we'll have some more on the way, some more courses and some more students as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your information that you were able to get over on security side.
No problem.
Sure thing. All right, we'll toss it back over to you, Scott.
Big thanks to Craig and Errol for that update. Well done, good sirs. And now on to the guru of the week. This week's winner is Anil Kanwar, a solutions architect at TerraGo Networks in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. You, sir, have just won yourself some swag from our Swaggerific collection. If you too want to take a swing at our new question, head on over to our forum via the link down below. Speaking of swag, do be sure to check out our A Cloud Guru's 12 Days of reInvent virtual booth at reInvent for daily updates and a chance to win some pretty cool giveaways. And that, my friends, is nowhere near all the AWS news that's fit to print this week, but we're out of time. Stay safe, take care of one another, and keep being awesome, Cloud Gurus.